We're back. We're back with the live. I'm here with Peter Holstrauser, disrupteducation.co. For those who don't know, youtube.com, TikTok, Instagram. You can find him anywhere and everywhere. He's got the cup as always in hand. Man, what is going on, man? How are you doing? It's end of February. Wow.
Yeah, well, I don't know what month it is here, man. Let's trying to figure it out here in Chicago,
Yeah.
man. Like, is it
70
summertime?
in
Is it
February.
wintertime? Is it
So,
fall, spring?
yeah.
I don't know. But no, it's all going good, man.
Love
Yeah,
it.
things are going well. Working on some different projects in our school. Taking a look around. There's a lot of people hiring around education. We're helping
Yeah.
people out on our Disrupt Education podcast around that. So, yeah, it's just a fun time of year, man.
Love it, man. Love to hear it. And for those who don't know, make sure you check out his podcast. It's incredible. You can definitely take, a thing or two, and it's just an opportunity to network with new individuals as well. So definitely look at Disrupt Education podcast whenever you all get a chance. One of the things I wanted to just kind of touch on, we've talked about it a little bit in the past, automation, but automation in education, right? Those two coming together quite a bit now. But do you feel like is automation helping, or is it working against education when it comes to real world experiences? And before I have you answer that question, I kind of bring that up because I reached out to a former, I don't want to say colleague, but former person that I've worked with in the past. And this was with you on the Hyatt project, Tyrone Stoudemire.
Yeah.
Want to give him a huge shout out. I actually reached out to him recently regarding a project that I did nearly 9 years ago now.
Yeah, my gosh,
and
how
really,
long ago?
I know, right? And just like having that as a real world experience, right? Automation wasn't really this big thing. Obviously, you got emails still and whatnot. I mean, it wasn't like AOL agent, but like, we had a real world experience. Like we were communicating in person. We had a sales presentation that we spent a lot of time putting together manually with our hands, doing the research, doing the dirty work, rolling your sleeves up, and I guess part of my question is like, do you feel like automation and AI, is that getting in the way of that real experience, or is it helping? What are your thoughts?
That's a great question. I think that's the billion-dollar question right now with AI and education. If I can go from automation to AI, kind of in that area. Yeah, there's a lot of conversation about it because it's like the calculator did this, so now what, right? So I think it's a yes and. I think it is helping education. However, younger people need to be taught how to use it. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of people just get it done for the answer, right? So let's go back to that project you were working on, right? You had this presentation you had to do, I believe it was some marketing for Hyatt. And, it could have been like all AI now. You could have just typed it in, tell me what to do. And then it actually on like a chat 4.0 or, anyone, it could have actually built the entire thing for you.
Right.
Okay. But you have to understand how to actually interact with it to get it to a point where it is yours. So I think that part is something that, we have to look at. Now, as far as holding back or growing, I think it's all still back into the mentality of the user, right? I use it a lot in entrepreneurship classes where I have them use just a basic chat GPT as their their help desk, if you will. So I need to know, teach me as I'm a sixth grader what a minimal viable product is, right? And they can use that. So they don't need me. They can get the facts and stuff from that. But the other thing is that, if I'm going to stop at a presentation, so let's go back to the entrepreneurship class. If I'm going to go and say, look, I need a presentation, you need to present your research that you did when you ask people about your product or service, right? They can do that. However, if they just do it to do it and check the box and move it in, I believe it's hurting education, right? But it's almost like, okay, now what AI, I want AI to do, but I'm not sure exactly how to do it. And I think this is the big discussion a lot is actually, okay, I can move you to that presentation and make it look awesome in like a matter of minutes if I know what to type in, right? And how to interact. what next? That's
Right.
the key. How far
Yes.
can we go? So I think the limitations, or the I guess the pinnacles of each one of our subjects should be
Hmm.
higher now. So
Mm.
if a
Okay.
younger person then can make a presentation for Hyatt and it can look darn good and it can use, any kind of like images, it can use all different kinds
Sure.
of, animations, holograms, whatever, because that's coming
Right.
out, right? Um,
Sure.
and it can do that for you. Well, then what next? Right.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that's where we need to kind of ask the question, okay, yeah,
Sure.
do I need this, number one?
Right.
And there is skills that you built. There's a tremendous amount of skills that you built in that Hyatt project. You learn teamwork, you learn how
Yes.
to communicate, you actually learn how to dine in a fancy restaurant with high executives, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
those are all those things, and those are in-person things. So I think the mundane stuff, the things that are going to open some doors for you to show what you know, if you're
Hmm.
interacting with automation, that's going to help. I
Yes.
don't think it will. I think it will. If people think that's all you have to do in learning, rather than like you said, get out there,
Right.
you're going to have to. We went to Hyatt. We
Yes.
did the presentation in front of people. Automation is not going to be able to do that. And they're trying. I'll be honest. I mean, I just saw something that there's a college educator standing in the room on a hologram, right? Like
Right.
teaching
Right.
to a class. I don't know if
Right.
that's the same or not. I mean, the time will only tell, but I really think you have to have that humanistic approach. And I think, honestly, the number one skill set that people are really trying to figure out is communication. How do I
Oh yeah.
communicate human to human, right?
Yeah.
If you have those skill sets, it's not going to be pushed along the wayside. It's going to be something that less and less people are having. So I
Yeah.
think COVID had a little bit to do with that. So I mean, that's kind of out there. It's a yes and no question. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I have
No,
the actual answer to it.
man, I mean, you touched on a lot of great things. The first thing you mentioned is just understanding like how to use the technology, right?
Yeah.
Use it, but don't necessarily abuse it. Use
Right.
it perhaps as like an enhancement piece to what you're working on.
Hmm.
Don't allow it to be the thing that says, oh, put my project together and do it for me. No,
Hmm.
that's not what you want to do. If I'm talking to any 16-year-old or a high schooler that's out there right now,
Hmm.
you don't want automation to be the workforce for you.
Right.
You still have to be the one to take the initiative. That is where you're going to learn the most. And
Yeah.
that's what I would say is, had I had, let's say, AI back
Hmm.
when I was doing the Hyatt project, yes, I'm sure it would have made processes much more efficiently,
Hmm.
but I wouldn't take away the research and development that I learned from the project and being able
Right.
to find out how do I effectively and efficiently put in the bullet points for my presentation to know exactly the points that I wanted to hit on, right? And how I actually wanted to orchestrate my presentation, right?
Hmm.
I think there are a lot of unique ways that AI and automation can enhance a project, but I
Right.
don't think it's going to give you the full product that you need to
Yes.
have. So
100%.
I think it's finding that middle ground, right?
Yeah.
And I guess I'll leave you there is what are maybe what's one way that we can try to find a middle ground if
Yeah.
we haven't already between AI and education, bringing both
Yeah,
together.
I think you just use examples. So, for example,
Yeah.
I had a kid who actually purchased 4.0 on ChatGPT,
Okay.
made a presentation for his entrepreneurship pitch last semester, and I'll be honest, it was the most generic garbage thing ever, because
Okay.
it did check the box, but
Right.
then like I think using that as an example and saying, okay,
Yeah.
what you need to do is really just always be hungry to make something more, right? And I think
Right.
like if this
Right.
kid actually took that and then went around the learning cycle a couple more times, that's
Sure.
the skill that we're missing. So I think that's how you really find the balance between it. Um, I like to bring it up, and some kids they'll do their pitch, and it sounds like the old robot talking, and
Right.
it's just a couple of generic pictures,
Yeah.
and it sucks, but they're like, I'm done, I did it, right? And I'm like, no,
Right.
okay, but like no one's gonna buy your stuff, man. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of what it's like. So yeah, that's how I found middle ground.
Couldn't agree with you more. I'll relate it to music and I'll end it here is that, someone knows when you're just playing notes on a page. It's one thing to play notes on a page and just go through the motions. Anybody can do that. But how do you really personalize it? How do you bring your most authentic self to that project or whatever it is you may be working on as a creative? That is what is going to make it shine. And that's where you're going to learn the most, honestly.
100%.
So with that being said, automation, disrupting education, disrupteducation.co. For those who don't know Peter Hostrawser, make sure you go check him out. Follow him on all platforms. For me, dgsax.com. If you got an event coming up, you're looking for some entertainment, hey, springtime is right around the corner. It's 70 degrees here in Chicago now, but who knows? That can change at any point. But we appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for always the conversation. And until next time, take care.
See you guys.